Oh, fuck. Fuck it. Fuck it, we ball. Whoa, kind of had a little mishap there transitioning into this screen, but hello, how's it going, everybody? It's Rezi Orenji, y'all's favorite music-loving, yarn-spinning cat boy, as usual, back with yet another music talk stream. I hope you all are doing well today. It is Sunday, October 26th, and I hope you all are having a nice fall evening. It's been, very chill weather recently. I've had to wear long sleeve shirts on my walks outside lately, and it's been all well and good. I just wish that, I don't know, just wish it would stay consistent, because there are some days where, the heat will spike again, but, that's just living under climate change, baby. But I digress. I hope you all are having a fantastic week. I've sort of been, chipping away at the Hair Metal History Part 3 as usual. And, I hope you enjoyed the Patreon exclusive that I made, unexclusive, on my YouTube channel this week, the Ace Frehley, Peter Criss solo career retrospective. I had a lot of fun making that one back in the day. Honestly, getting to revisit it kind of reminded me how much I enjoy, super focusing in on, one artist's career. I'm so much in the weeds right now of, exploring an entire genre in glam metal that it's oh my god, I'm exploring, all these cultural trends of the day. I'm exploring, where it came from, how, that area changed alongside, all these different factors that, probably I would be considering too in some respects if, I were covering an individual artist, but not to as much a degree, not too much as a balancing act, as incorporating all sorts of fucking all these different bands and their albums, and trying to give each a little bit of a sunshine, a little bit of a spotlight in the video. I miss more simple videos, and hopefully after this Hair Metal History series, I'll be going back to doing more of a singular artist for a little bit. I don't know. But what I do know, it's been a decent week for me. Nothing really too musical going on recently in my life, but things are rocking, things are rolling. I hope everybody's had a very decent week in spite of the whole Ace Frehley news lingering. Apparently his funeral happened recently. Did any of you see? Apparently, I think Eddie Trunk did some. I know he posted about it, or at least posted an update on Facebook, or he recorded a video or some such, talking about what happened there. I don't know. It's really, really sad times to be a Kiss fan, but at the very least, it makes us respect those that we still have here with us, and what they've given us for the past few decades. Even if Gene Simmons is still an asshole, even if Paul Stanley are assholes, even if Peter Criss himself can be a little bit of an asshole here or there, they still were fantastic rock stars in their day, and I'm glad to keep covering them eventually at some point in the future. I don't know. I want to give my sub goal that I set for myself some level of respect. So I'm still holding out for that 10K subs. I don't know how I'm going to how long that is, how far that is away, but for what I know, I may eventually drop that requirement right out if I feel the time is right for me to go back to 90s Kiss. Maybe I'll just drop that out right. Oh, hi, by the way, hello, host Gangent. I hope you are doing well. Whoa, indeed. Welcome to the streamer. With all that being said, I think we can get into talking I never saw Paul as an asshole necessarily, but he always had this woe is me attitude. Oh my god. You should read his autobiography. It is all full of like these petty gripes and grievances. It's ridiculous. He's a bit of a diva, but I mean, what can you expect from somebody who invented the Starman? But yeah, anyways, I guess we can get into talking with our guest of the evening, and this guy I found on Twitter again. He seems pretty cool, you know, as a sun spirit VTuber. Obviously, he's a very radiant sort of personality, but he makes a bunch of electronic music. He's got a bunch of remixes and a few original tunes on YouTube and SoundCloud. I've asked him like what he's into, and he's forwarded me like more video game composers than like actual bands and artists. So that is very intriguing to me, to get an idea of his compositional mind. You know, he's also into like, technical post-hardcore apparently, and Lithia and that sort of music. So very much the sort of, I guess, multi-layered composer's mindset right there. I'm looking forward to frying his mind about it. So, would you all please join me in welcoming Taiyoshi Yuuto?
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the stream, man. I hope you are doing well, and I apologize to the crowd that we're starting a bit late, but you yourself are coming from like a stream you just had, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, I was playing some Elden Ring with a dear friend of mine. We do it every Sunday, so I was just
Oh,
trying to
hell
make sure
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, no, I haven't played any Elden Ring for myself, but I certainly appreciate the how massive of a game it is, how
Yeah.
how much of an undertaking it is for a streamer, and certainly how much memeable content you can get out of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. You got to get on that. It's really good.
I'm not a FromSoft guy by trade, but I have heard that
Oh.
Elden Ring is like a good baby's first FromSoft, so
Oh yeah, for
maybe
sure.
eventually.
Who
Um,
knows?
but yeah, anyways, the way I usually like to start these streams is by opening up the floor to my guests, get them to speak a bit about their love for music. So, the thing I usually like to ask is like, what sparked your passion for music? This is one thing, right? To sort of,
Mhm.
have music on in the background, have it as sort of like your mood soundtrack or whatever, but it's another thing entirely to be like a VTuber that does EDM production on the side and remixes and all that stuff. So, like, where did that journey start for you?
Right. So, funnily enough, it started years ago when I was a wee little lad. My father actually also produces music,
Oh,
and
nice.
one of my earliest memories was like going into the basement that we as children were forbidden not to go into, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go anyway. And I went downstairs and found my dad's computer on, and it had some program on it or whatever. And me being the curious kid I was, I pressed the spacebar button on the keyboard, and I was assaulted by just a loud wall of sound, and it was so overwhelming. I started crying, and then my dad had to come pick me up and be like, calm me down. But that's what I remember. I remember, my dad makes music, and I was like, wait, that's really cool. I think my dad is cool. I want to be like my dad. I want to make music.
That's
And
awesome.
so from a young age, I started getting into as music related things as I could. In sixth grade, I started playing the violin in middle school, and I was classically trained throughout middle and high school for about, what was that, 7 years.
Oh,
And at
nice.
the start of high school, that's when I started my um, digital production. Like you're doing, working with FL Studio and stuff like that for the first time.
Okay.
And I've been making music digitally ever since.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's cool that you have like sort of a classical and like upbringing. Like I can imagine that really helps when you're like tooling around in something like FL Studio and working with all these midis, trying to piece
Mhm.
together something that looks real nice on a piano roll.
Right, absolutely. I think really what that has helped me to do is understand the construction and the structure of a song. Because a lot of classical pieces will have like, A and B sections and then C sections and then return back to, the A section and stuff like that. So learning how songs are constructed, and also just learning an ear for like notes and pitches and being able
Yeah,
to
yeah.
figure that out just by hearing the song itself. Those are the two things that I really gained from playing
Absolutely.
all those years in orchestra.
Yeah, no, I did choir for a number of years back in like high school, college, and that helped me a lot with like sight singing, getting an idea of pitches just by like hearing them, like what notes they are. I don't have perfect pitch by any means, and probably I've fallen off in past years since I've been focusing on like the drums, but you know, I
Right.
I definitely have I like to think that, I have a better handle of pitch whenever I sing than the average Joe.
Right, right.
FL Gang, says Host Gangent. I
Yeah, yeah.
I've not used FL Studio much myself. I might have tinkered around with it maybe once or twice, but the DAW
Mhm.
that I typically use whenever I try to do like musical things on my channel is like Reaper. But even then,
Right.
that's just like rudimentary mixing stuff that I do. It's nothing too fancy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been on Twitter a little bit and I've been seeing not necessarily discourse, but more discussion over like which one of the DAWs is the most, friendly to get into and everything like that, most user friendly. And I think
Yeah,
for me, I think when it comes to user friendliness, I mean, there's so many different aspects of DAWs that make things easier for someone else than for other people. If you want something that's just drag and drop, I mean, I would say maybe go with Machine. They have a lot of preset, um, you know, they have a lot of preset patterns that you can use. Just drop it in there and make loops and do things like that. If you want more control over stuff, then use FL Studio. If you want to have more of the high end stuff, go Pro Tools. There's so
yeah,
many
yeah.
places to start from.
Absolutely. You ain't true FL Gang unless you got the 2-on-2.
Yeah.
I am. I'm not sure what that is. What is?
For me, I mean, I started with FL Studio way back when, and then later on, it was a gift from my dad actually. He ended up giving me the
Ah,
Machine MK3, which came with Native Instruments Machine 2. And so I learned how to incorporate that into my workflow. So I use both of those DAWs interchangeably. I
I
cannot
see.
bring myself to learn a third one though. That's too much.
That is fair. That is fair. God, I took a class ages ago on like acoustic recording. So theoretically, I should know how to, work myself basically around the DAW, but I've lost a lot of that knowledge. It's wild how much science you need to learn, how much you need to learn about waveforms in order to make great music. It's it's
Mhm.
it's it's kind of its own skill set at that point.
Oh, absolutely. There's only so many things that can transfer from like doing IRL stuff to doing stuff working in a DAW and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's the meme beginner audio face. I see. Using more than one DAW is such a power move, man. uh, So, as I mentioned, it's sort of introducing you. You've got a few different works on YouTube and SoundCloud that you've already made,
Mm.
remixes and originals alike. What have been like your favorite sorts of projects to work on to date?
Um, when it comes to my favorites, I think it is projects that I can collaborate with people on. The reason I became a VTuber in the first place is because I was like, man, well, I love doing cool stuff. well, what if I do cool stuff with cool people, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I was like, if I can learn how to get good enough at this music such that I can have people collaborate with me, that'll be great. So I've got collaborations with some singers, I've got collaborations with other music producers. And honestly, I feel like when you're able to mash multiple people together in terms of their ideas and their styles, and you're able to translate that well in a song, it doesn't get any
Yeah.
better than that, truly.
Yeah, no, that's something that I think really works well in terms of the VTuber medium, like making
Mhm.
electronic music with other VTubers. Like, I mean, because all you really need is like a good producer making like a good like beat and like backing track and what have you, and like people to send in their vocals to sing on top of it, and blammo, you got a song. Whereas
Yeah.
I feel like with other genres of music, I've wanted for ages to do some sort of like VTuber band, but coordinating that logistically would just be like so much more work by contrast.
Oh, absolutely. I have to hand it to organizations like the VTuber Symphony Orchestra. I've seen
Yes,
the stuff that they
yeah,
put together and I'm like, wow. One, I kind of want to be a part of that, but I don't think my skills are up to par. But two, just seeing how much work and effort that they put in to get all their things together and like orchestrate that, quite literally orchestrate
absolutely.
that, is
Yeah.
insane.
I've had a few people from the orchestra on my stream, and yeah, it's just
Really?
insane. Yeah, yeah. I don't remember who exactly, but like it's just insane, like the talent that goes into that, both on the talent end and just like mixing everything together, because I can't imagine it's
Mm.
easy, like a virtual orchestra sort of like I'm reminded of ages ago. I don't know how familiar you are with like choral composers, but there's this one guy, Eric Whitaker. He did like I don't know how often he's done it, but he's done it a few times in the past where he's had like a virtual choir where he's like put out like a sheet music essentially, and like you can like send in like a video of you singing along to like whatever part you like your range is in, and he
Right.
mixes it all together in this like virtual like video where like there's footage of him like mock conducting, and like there's the videos of all the people who send in their
Oh.
entries. It's a very very warm, wholesome thing.
Yeah, I feel like I came across something like that a while ago. It feels familiar, so maybe I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Eric Whitaker's the fucking man. Dynasty era Kiss vibe with the VTuber band idea. Oh my god, like there's a reason that, my first ever video essay series was Kiss, is because I think that like shit that they were doing in the 70s was exactly the precursor to what we have today in terms of like, larger than life, pop idols like fucking VTubers, Vroids, well, no, not Vroids, is little Vocaloids, fucking,
Mhm.
idol groups even in Japan took a lot from Kiss, and yeah, just like they I'd like to think that as VTuber technology gets a lot better, because we're already seeing it with like these massive like corpo like VTuber concerts. Like I definitely think that
Uh-huh.
VTubing is the next step in like live sort of, or at least as technology gets better. I feel like VTuber concerts can see better legitimacy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're holding concerts on freaking ships. You're holding concerts like for different idol groups and everything like that. There's so much
Oh
potential.
yeah.
There's so much talent out there and everything like that. So I truly do think that, given enough time, just like how rigging grew so much from 2020 till now, like the more that we give opportunities to have these, virtual producers, not p- virtual performers in
Yeah,
these
yeah.
physical spaces, people, it'll get more normalized, and then people will find even better, smoother ways to do it. Because,
Exactly.
oh boy. The first time that they did like Off Kai and they did the concerts in there, it was rough, but they're looking real nice now.
Oh yeah. Were you there, or were you just seeing from abroad?
No, I went to the first Off Kai. I think it was the first Off Kai
Oh,
or second. I
okay.
can't remember. 2023 was the first, maybe, or the
Hmm.
second, one of the two. But yeah, it was good. But I mean, there were definitely rough spots that
Yeah,
they
there were
had to like
kinks to
learn
work
from
out.
that they were. Yeah, and now since they've had the time to do that, like the production is better, and
Yeah.
everybody, including the performers themselves, are having a better time.
Yeah, and now you got Iron Mouse on like the indie spectrum of things, like holding her own fucking concert in San Diego, and it's like that
Yeah,
just opens the door to like maybe not on that scale of things, but like maybe indies finding other smaller venues to hold concerts out of and do their own sorts of, festivals.
yeah, absolutely.
Greetings. Just wanted to say hi. I really enjoyed your Kiss videos and the Boston one. Excellent OG for Kiss and Boston fan. I'm really glad you enjoyed them. Sticky socks. That's a funny username. I like that. Uh, what was I gonna say? Um, so how would you say like your sound as a creator has evolved over the years?
Right. Well, I think that, um, over the years, people always used to look at my music and like, oh, you make Mario beats and stuff like that. Like, I guess used to get teased as a kid in high school, but I really think that those kinds of songs, like, anime music and video game music, really kind of helped me to develop the kind of rhythm that I was looking for and kind of the
Yeah,
tone that I was going for. And so I just wanted to be able to kind of like hone in on that and focus. If there was a
yeah.
genre that I was really enjoying, I was like, well, how do I get to that point? And
Mm-hmm.
so I found myself over the years really just chasing the kind of genres I wanted to replicate. And my
Yeah,
skill, sometimes there was a gap that I couldn't cross. Sometimes there was a gap I couldn't cross, but I knew that eventually I would make it. And so over time, I just continued to pace and challenge myself. If there was an idea that I thought about, I scribbled it down and thought about it and tried to expand on it whenever I had the time.
yeah, yeah. No, I relate to that. Although I've had a bad habit in recent years of not really writing my ideas down so much. I used to, demo a lot on a copy of GarageBand, but I don't really use my iPad so much anymore. I need to get a new charger for it.
Right, yeah. I remember I used to, back in high school, there was a music production class and we had GarageBand because they were all on Macs. And,
Yeah.
it's free with it. So you just mess around in there and like learn how to do things. So that class
Mm-hmm.
really helped me too, having a teacher. Some of those projects I can't use now because I don't own a Mac, but they still play and
Yeah.
they still work.
Mm-hmm. I remember, yeah, my high school computer lab used to have Macs 2 with GarageBand on them, and I would, sometimes sneak in like some time to go on there and like compose entire songs out of like the samples that they had available. Completely garbage and nonsense stuff, but like I thought it sounded cool.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, but uh how since you became a VTuber, because obviously I'm sure you started making music with it like before you became the VTuber, like how has becoming a
Right.
VTuber influenced your approach to music?
Oh man, that is such a good question. I realized that after when I became a VTuber, that was back when there was not a lot of information on how to, get models like that, or like there was not a
Yeah.
lot of free resources out there. And one of the areas that was really, really lacking was BGMs, because the thing is, music, when it comes to like the art and creative world,
Yeah.
music is kind of a afterthought when it comes to like the art, and especially when it's in the VTuber space, because typically you look at a person's model, you look at the fan art that they have, you see their
Yeah.
rigging. That is the first
Hmm.
thing you're going to see, but a lot of people don't really give any thought to the music side, because
Yeah.
when it comes to art in general, you can look at a piece of art and consume that within seconds. You recognize it, you analyze it, and then you move on. With
Hmm.
music, you have to actually sit down and listen to it and take the time to engage with that piece. And people are not really keen on doing that, because that's just not how society has been in the past few decades, with how fast everything moves, with
Yeah.
social media and everything like that. So,
Now you got
that being
fucking
the
AI
case,
generating entire albums of
I know,
shit on
right? Exactly.
Spotify that generates profit, and it's, whew.
Mhm. But all that to say is that in that space in 2020, when there was even less music related stuff going on, I was like, oh, there's a market for this. People need
Right.
music to have people remember, like, hey, when you pull it to my stream and you hear this, this is my song. This is my song,
Mm-hmm.
my branding. And I was like, if I can make custom music for people to support
Yeah.
their branding, I can make something out of this. And so it was less of me trying to make originals that were like, oh, I like this and everything like that, and trying to learn what people's styles and
Mm-hmm.
vibes were so I could make music originally for them. And so I
Yeah.
started up selling out custom BGMs.
Okay. Did you operate it out of like what's the site for VTuber commissions? I forget.
So if you're thinking of VGen, VGen did not exist
Yeah.
back then.
Oh, okay.
So
So
it was
you
straight up just
what were
me
you operating
advertising
out
on
of?
Twitter. I was just advertising on Twitter, and just making things and sending it back and forth on Discord, being like, "Hey, this is how you commission me. What's what?
Ah,
Here it is."
okay.
And sending them my PayPal. You know how it goes, the old tricks and everything.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then being like, "Hey, can I, get some stuff from you so I can post this on Twitter to, like, get engagement, show people that you have a new BGM, and then post it on my SoundCloud, and it's there." So,
Very nice, very nice.
I think over the past maybe 5 years, I think I've composed over 35 songs for
Yeah,
VTubers.
yeah. And just like having to work within all those parameters and like fit different VTubers vibes. I assume that's expanded your like sonic palette, your capabilities as a composer in that regard.
Oh, absolutely. It would have not done me well to only stick with one genre. And I've always been the type of person that is like, well, if I can do multiple things, why not do multiple things instead of just one? So I've done jazz, I've done bossa nova, I've done rock, I've done EDM, I've done
Mm-hmm.
just a bunch of different number of genres, just to be
Yeah.
able to. The whole idea is that, I mean, yes, I have to enjoy making it and liking it, how it
Mm-hmm.
sounds as the composer, but also I have to meet the commissioner's standards. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would spend a lot of time listening to the samples that they gave me, trying to figure out what is the vibe that they're trying to get here, and then emulate that as closely as possible while still giving them something original.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I I have so much respect for people who, compose background music for VTubers, like especially like the royalty free guys who are out there like just dropping this shit for people to use for free. I've
Uh-huh.
been straight using a royalty free BGM for the past 3 years, and it has served me so well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
um, let's see. Uh So, how do you approach like songwriting versus remixing? Is it like a distinct process for both, or are there like similar elements involved?
Right. So I would say that when it comes to songwriting, there is a little bit more of a hurdle in the fact that technically what you're trying to write doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So you are having to come up with everything pretty much from scratch, barring any of your inspirations. And of course, you also have to deal with the fact that you're trying not to make your original songs too much like your inspirations.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very much reminded of that one meme series by Daniel Thrasher, where he's like, "Hey, prof, look at the song that I learned. This is an original song I come up with," and he plays it on the piano, and it's just the song that already exists. The amount of time I've tried to write a song and I'm like, fuck, wait, this already exists. Come on. And I have to
Yeah.
start over. So there's that level of, trying to make sure that it is truly something original, and then also understanding that you are making something out of thin air. So however it goes is really up to you. Now, when it comes to remixing, that's a little different because you already have something to work with. And I think
Hmm, hmm.
remixes are really fun for me because you're able to. I'm a big believer in the philosophy that a song is truly never finished. You can
Yeah.
say, hey, this song is done and I'm going to put it out. But there are many times where after a while, I've come back to listen to a song and I'm like, oh, I can do this, that, or the third, and I can add this. But the song's already out, but I'm still thinking about things I can add to it. And so
Yeah.
remix
Yeah.
give me the opportunity to listen to a song that is quote unquote finished and put my own spin on it and add things that I think that will be helpful in sending the vibe that I want to in whatever direction that
Yeah.
I'm giving to that remix.
Yeah. No, I saw you were you had a few like future funk remixes on like your SoundCloud, and that reminded me of like back when I discovered vaporwave for the first time. That was like it completely flipped my notions of like what you could do with sampling in music, because like I mean essentially they
Mhm.
were just like chopping up old 80s songs, putting reverb over them, and either slowing them down or speeding them up and putting a fat beat under it, and it was just
Yeah,
it slapped. That's all
absolutely.
you needed to do to make a great new piece of art right there.
Yeah, and I think that also helps in terms of like just keeping the genre alive because I love 80s funk. That's like one of the things I grew up on with my dad and everything
Yeah.
because he loves all kinds of music, and so we grew up listening to all kinds of music.
Right,
But
right.
as time moves on, that music kind of fades away. So I think, genres like funk or speed garage are like a great way to bring back the older, genres in a new way for everybody
Mhm.
to enjoy. And future
I
funk so spoke to me when I was young.
yeah. I I've never heard of Speed Garage. What's that?
Yeah, speed garage is a genre that has come out more. So it kind of originated in the 90s with the regular genre garage in the
Yeah.
UK. That was like underground, like clubs would play these songs and everything like that or whatever. And then what the clubs would do was take these songs and kind of like remix them, or they would like make them a little faster and add a different beat to like some existing songs like they do with
Right.
future funk, and they call it speed garage, and it was really popular in the 90s and 2000s, and then it kind of
I
died off.
see.
But it's made a resurgence here and there. I've even heard there's a genre called speed garage, which I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I I feel like these EDM subgenres are just they're getting too ridiculous these days.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, everybody has a place that they want to try and call home, with these labels. So I think as
Yeah.
long as you're able to categorize it well enough, why not?
Yeah, yeah, might as well, might as well. I let me see. What was I gonna say? Um so when you write music or you're in the process of like remixing something, do you have an idea in your head going into the process, or do you like to fool around in your DAW until you have something typically?
I've been in situations where I've done both actually. So,
Ah,
especially when
yeah.
it comes to remixes, I I always like if the song is slow, then I want to speed it up. If it's fast already, then I'm like, okay, how else can I remix this? So I typically sometimes have ideas of like what I'm going to do.
Right.
Um, with original songwriting, it's a little harder. Sometimes I will have an idea of like, oh, I heard this in my head and I'm trying to translate it onto the DAW. But other times I'm like, I'm just gonna press things, press some chords, see what happens, see if I like this or not, and then really it's all about making the chord structure and the main structure of the song, which for me includes like the way I create songs in the first place. So what I like to do is I like to analogy. I start with the meat. The meat is like the
Mhm.
chorus, the main hook of the song that everybody is going to listen to, the main thing that draws people to the song. And
Yeah.
then from there, I start taking things away or adding things here and there that are different from the genre, not the genre, the chorus, to make the lettuce or the tomato or the bun or the bottom of the bun and everything like that, and
Yeah.
build the song around the chorus. So
Mhm.
most of my songs will have the chorus, and then you'll hear that every other part of the song has elements of the chorus in it, but that it's maybe stripped down or changed in some way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that is how I, really got used to making VTuber BGMs, because I realized like I don't need to sit here and make like a completely unique section A or completely unique section B and everything like that, because that would just take too long. And that
Yeah.
is, there's different writing styles like that. Like if you listen to J-rock or J-pop or anything like that, a lot of times Japanese music is written in the style that there are unique sections that don't repeat over and over again or anything like that for
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good part.
yeah.
But for BGMs, people are just listening to that. It is literally background music. So you don't need to necessarily go that hard. So what
Right,
I did to
yeah.
compromise was to find a good chorus, a good hook, and then build a song basically off of that that would satisfy the
Yeah.
customer and me and be able to be
Absolutely.
like something you would loop in the background.
You just need a good theme that you can build something off of. Like the BGM that I've been using for the longest time. It's just a swinging guitar riff basically that loops for like a minute, but it's got like enough variation and life in it to to lightly go alongside a pleasant conversation, say.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's like fuck, what was I gonna say? I completely lost the analogy. Um Uh, I guess to dig a bit into your influences now, you sent me a list of like some of your favorite artists, before streaming. As I was saying, you like quite a few video game composers, in
Right.
addition to like some post-hardcore and like maybe prog here or there. What's the history there with developing your taste?
Right. So a lot of it was based off of what I can look at this list and I can literally like look at the years that I was into certain things and like where I
Oh,
got into
sure.
them. A lot of them were, so let's start with the top. I guess, with James Landino and Tofi, who used to go by the name Tofuku. So that was when I was really into like EDM and wanting to learn how to DJ. I remember going to a convention way,
Yeah.
way, way, way back when, and I remember being at the front and I saw James Landino DJing there, and I was like, "That's so cool." And then I
Mm,
realized that guy makes music too. I want to do stuff just like that, and so
yeah.
he is one of my inspirations in like learning how to start making like EDM and working harder on that front. And then also Tofi as well. She makes EDM, but she's also made like more kind of like ethereal kind of sounding music, like music that really helps you like feel like you're connected with the world around you. And so I am
Yeah.
also really a huge fan of how she crafts her music in that style to kind of evoke that feeling. It really does feel like it takes you to a different place.
Mhm.
Um, and so those are the two that came to my mind when it came to the beginning of like when I realized, okay, there are people that I can look up to that are making music that I want to make.
Right.
Mm. And so moving on to I guess the next one. So
Yeah, you got
Polyphia
like
is on
two different
this.
like Square Enix things on there, right? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not looking at the list in order. I'm just
Oh, you're
recalling from
fine.
my
No
memory.
worries. You're fine. No worries. I want to mention Polyphia because it's literally the only one on this list that I think is not like any of the others, and it
Yeah.
is only because one of my friends in college told me about. I was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of math rock?" And I was like, What's that? Math rock? I've never heard of that." And he told me to go listen to Polyphia, and I absolutely fell in love with their band and the
Yeah.
genre, and I just love it. It just, if there's one thing that I enjoy, it is syncopation and crazy time signatures in music,
Yeah.
because it just always keeps your brain moving, and they're so good at that.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of overlap with that and like post-hardcore and like a lot of and like some of the other stuff you got in that list.
hmm Like it's a little bit, not necessarily a little bit adjacent, but it's kind of closer to one of the bands on here, Master of the Fermenting Dregs. Now that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
shoegaze, and shoegaze is such a cool genre to me because if there's one
Oh
thing that
yeah.
I love about like making music is that I'll put reverb on everything. I like to call like reverb is like my baby. And so if I can
Mm-hmm.
put reverb on something, I will. And when I discovered there's a genre that just completely works off of like throwing reverb at things to make this kind of wall of sound, I was like, how do I
Yeah.
get into making this? I like this is well after I traversed into like the genre of making rock. And so I was like, I want to
Yeah.
make kind of something that sounds like this. And I found this band through a friend of mine who's also on this list. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is where it's at. It's kind of
Mm.
my kick right now.
Have you listened to like some of the original shoegaze acts, like My Bloody Valentine and Lush and all those guys?
I have not yet. So the thing about making this list actually and why it was so difficult for me is that
Sure,
I
sure.
don't necessarily listen to artists. I listen to songs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like if I like a song by an artist, I'm not gonna go and look at their other music. I'll just keep listening to that one song.
Okay. Fair,
Yeah, so
fair.
but like that the one song that they have, I'm like I probably have played it over and over and over and over again.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, with the exception of like a few people, like I said, James Landino or Tofi, like people that are like more in like the Western side, I will probably have like listened to most a good few of their stuff over the years.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they are the ones that are like they feel close. They feel close in the way that like I can interact with them. I can see their process. I can understand how they're writing their music and what goes into that. There are some other
Mm-hmm.
ones that are like, okay, well, these are too far removed from me, so I'm just gonna take the song that I like and call it a day and move on.
Yeah. And I saw you're also super into like Sonic Teams music, like the stuff in the Sonic games.
Oh yeah, like Sonic music is probably unparalleled in the variety that they compose all their songs in. Like you've got songs from
Agreed.
the Sonic Adventure 2 battle, you've got songs from Sonic Lost World, you've got the masterpiece that is Sonic Unleashed. Oh my god. You
That's
want to
a
talk about a
great.
OST that is varied and that touches on so many different genres? Just look at Sonic Unleashed.
It
There's
is
so
it is
much
a
good stuff in
great
there.
soundtrack.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I
just
I love
music
the
from all over
Sonic
the world.
games, and even recently. I mean, some of the recent Sonic games, the soundtracks haven't been as memorable, but maybe that's just because you need to give them a few more years to really percolate. I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate a lot of what they were going for with like Frontiers recently, where you had the very sort of serious, somber music to accompany you in the overworld, and then just going balls to the wall like metal with the boss fights.
Yeah, I've heard it's actually crazy, and I've been trying to make sure that I don't get spoiled on too many things. 'Cause I want to play Frontiers, I just haven't gotten around to it, but I know the music
Oh
is a
yeah,
bang.
yeah. it is great. I'm a longtime Sonic nerd. Have loved Sonic ever since. I think my first game was like Heroes, like right around when
Ah,
Sonic was
yeah.
going multi-platform and all that. So
Mhm.
I'm a second generation Sonic fan, but I have love for all of the games. Well, not all of them, but
Most of
I
them.
have I have respect. There's a lot of chaff in the in the Sonic franchise.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was gonna say, let us not talk about the mess that is Sonic 06, but even still, the
Yeah,
soundtrack in that game is also still really phenomenal.
at least that
Um,
has a good soundtrack. The real unforgivable one there is Sonic Boom. And it has
oh
shitty
yeah.
gameplay and shitty music.
God, I don't even think about that when I think about Sonic. I think I've erased it from my mind. But
Yeah.
another game in the Sonic series that I think does really well with varied themes and genres is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, or just
Oh
Sonic Adventure 2 in
yeah.
general, or even regular Sonic Adventure. It's just having characters that have each their different themes that are tied to them. I think was so genius. You have Rouge with
Yeah.
jazz, you got Sonic with rock, you've got Knuckles with rap. It's just like wow, this is so cool to tie these genres to these characters because these genres also like give you
Yeah.
insight into their personality.
Yeah, Jun Sano was cooking with those fucking games when he composed the soundtrack, and especially
Oh
so,
yeah.
like as you mentioned with the different genres. I like how he incorporated sort of like the 80s stadium like glam rocky aesthetic into like Sonic's theme and all that. Really embodies his fast like wild and free nature.
Hmm.
And like I don't know, I also love Crush 40 here or there. It's a shame that they're sort of in dispute with song rights at the moment with Sonic Team and all that, but
Yeah.
in the past they have laid down some banger themes for the series.
Oh, absolutely. Some of these are timeless things. Like nobody's ever gonna forget Live and Learn. That's going down in the books for sure.
Hmm. Absolutely. uh so like with that said, like what is your favorite video game OST?
Um, that that's really rough. That's really rough to answer. I'm torn between. I'm torn between Kingdom Hearts and
Mm.
specifically Near Automata.
Oh, okay.
And so Kingdom Hearts has a soft spot. It's kind of I'm biased on that because it's my favorite video game series of all time. I love Kingdom
Right.
Hearts, and one of the themes from there's multiple themes from that game series
Hmm.
that I really love. And if there's one thing that Yoko Shimomura is amazing at doing, it's as putting people characters leitmotifs in other people's themes. And so
Yeah.
I love listening to themes and being like, oh, these characters are connected through X, Y, and Z. Well, this
Hmm.
character has this other character's theme in it in a different way and everything. And so it's like, oh, you can sense their connection not only through the game and through the story, but also through the music as well.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that it is a hallmark of what I consider to be a good game or a good experience that the game is supposed to be, it is that all of the aspects of the game are interwoven with each other.
Hmm.
Um, and so when you're able to tell a story not only through the writing of the game but also the music of the game, it's like
Yeah.
that's beautiful to me. But that's also why I love Near Automata because
Mm.
man, what an amazing game that was. I wish I could play it over again for the first time. The
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
in Near Automata is phenomenal. It tells such story, so much story with just the music alone. And that's not even to talk about the language that was created just for the game itself, so that they could sing in these mysterious language that was
Hmm.
supposed to be something that nobody could understand, but still has meaning because of the way it's sung and the emotions that are behind it. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
knowing that that language has a story all its own that you can't even really figure out in the first few playthroughs of the game itself just drags you to dive deeper into such an amazing world. And so using the music to do something like that was like genius to me.
That's really fascinating. It's incredible when composers are able to take like fictional languages and make entire like make entire like gorgeous choral arrangements out of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I believe the it wasn't Keiichi Okabe himself, but it was one of the singers, I believe, Emmy Evans, who came up with the chaos
Mm.
language and created it herself and then sang it. I'm like, "What? That's insane."
Yeah. I'm reminded of I forget what Monster Hunter game it was. It might have been Worlds, like the one that came out for the Switch. But I remember there was just from having tuned in so many times to like VTubers that were playing it back in the day. I remember being in love with its whole sort of town theme, and the
Mhm.
vocalist in that was singing in a fictional language too. And I didn't even realize until like for closer inspection, it sounded like very like sort of like a mix of a Roman romance language and a Japanese language, but like
Mhm.
the meaning was you could of course feel it there.
Yeah. And I think that there was a video I watched recently, the person who was doing an essay on Near Automata's music. He mentioned that, language as much as it can bridge people together, it can also be a barrier. And so, in the way that these fictional languages hit our ears, it makes us realize that okay, maybe we should be trying to decipher the language or whatever they're being said, but just listen to the way it sounds in accordance with the music. And that's another way to connect us to the music itself.
Absolutely, yeah. Um, let's see. Uh, so, what is the meaning of your, Project Blank Space's name? Your channel isn't, on YouTube isn't like, your own name. It's called Blank Space. Why is that?
Right. So, when I was young, I really, 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 really liked Blank Space by Taylor Swift.
Okay. Are
And
you Swifty?
so, no, actually, I'm not.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
I do very much enjoy her older stuff.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
funnily enough, that wasn't the idea behind me naming myself that. My
mm-hmm.
whole idea was that, first off, I have to talk about how I love the anime No Game No Life. Um,
Okay.
because I was always in love with the idea of like naming yourself, like having a name that didn't mean anything or that was empty. The
Right.
twins, or the siblings, I can't remember their names at this point, Sora and somebody else. They were a pair who played an online game, and they went by the name Blank, and it was just
Mm-hmm.
a blank thing with brackets in it. And I was like, that's so cool. They don't really define themselves by anything but that blank empty space. And then I was like, wait, that's kind of how I feel when it comes to like music. You can fill anything with that space. That space has the capacity to be anything you want it to be. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
my idea as blank space is to take that empty space in the middle with the brackets and everything and fill it with sound.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And so that's
Um.
the definition behind my name.
Mm-hmm. And and you've certainly helped too in that regard with like as a sort of background music artist, right? You're the one who fills the gaps in sound for all your friends and people who commission you.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to be the person that people would come to if they needed custom music, because I wanted to be able to help them solidify their brand in ways that people weren't really doing at the time yet.
Right, yeah. So is
Yeah, at least in
w-
the Western space,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um so would you is that like where you'd like to release all of your music? Are you thinking of doing, stuff under your VTuber moniker, like original music and stuff like, traditional VTuber fare, right? Release the the big music videos and have your singles on streaming and all that and
Yeah, I think for me, when it comes to names, I think I think it's okay to have multiple names. Like people might get
yeah.
confused and everything like that, but if you look hard enough, you'll be able to realize, hey, this person is also this person. And so
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I want to be able to still use the name Blank Space because it means a lot to me. But also,
Right.
if I'm like in a VTuber project and somebody is commissioning me, I'll just use my VTuber name and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I've,
yeah.
I've, I've mixed with different people where I've had the name Blank Space, I've had the name Taiyoshi Yuuto, I've had the name Yuuto P, as me being a
Hmm.
producer. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever I feel like going like at the time, as long as I know you're referring to me and as long as you know you're referring to me, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's cool how many VTubers I've had on this program who have like all these different projects with different names, and their VTuber is their own, distinct thing too. Like I had this guy on, Mortal Martian, who has had like all these different projects, including his own like different like rap alias, but he does his own VTuber rapping too with like a bunch of other like underground VTuber rappers, and it's like
Mhm.
I do not know how people have so much time for for all of that.
Yeah, it is definitely an undertaking, but I think,
I'm
you
I'm
know,
I'm in two bands already IRL, and that already runs me ragged in terms of like trying to commit to things.
yeah, absolutely. I think, you have to find the time, you have to make the time in your life to do these things, but it's also a matter of balancing stuff so you don't spread yourself too thin because we all know how burnout goes.
Absolutely. And I, it's the unfortunate fact of life that some people just have to kind of work through it. I feel like sometimes I feel that way.
Mhm. Right.
It's like, I mean, not to get too all deep personal or woe as me or whatever. I've had a good job the past few years and it's supported me well enough, but
Mhm.
it gets to a point where you get into a routine of things and it's like, damn, is am I going to break free of this at some point?
Right, right. And I think that's why it's really important to have things that can break that, monotony for you. Like, you have to have a job that will feed you and that will support you and everything. But there's other
Yeah.
aspects of your life that you can thrive and have variety in. And that's
Yeah.
for me, that's music. I thought that once I did what I needed to do in terms of academia and going to school and getting jobs and all that and everything, that I would have to give up, my music because I was like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have time, but I realized that it's such a core part of me that if I give that up, I'm giving a part of myself up. I can't do that. So
Absolutely.
I had to find something that would let me do what I want to do in terms of getting me a job and getting supporting myself, but also give me time to let me do my music when I had the energy and will and motivation to do so.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad I have enough time to do the projects that I do and to have this whole VTuber side hustle as well. I mean, I
Mhm.
typically treat my VTubing, as a hobby. I'm not really one of those who, streams multiple times a week and always keeps on top of things and always like makes these clip compilations or whatever and does all the cross posting on different social media platforms. I move at my own
Mhm.
pace and it works well enough for me.
Right. Yeah, I think when you find that balance, you're able to hold that balance, it allows you to then fine tune the amount of time that you have to turn to something else or, realize that, hey, maybe I had more time than I thought. Let me see what I can do with this time in a more efficient manner.
Yeah. Now, time efficiency is definitely something I need to work on. I mean, I get so wrapped up in working on weekends and relaxing when I get home, and I'm relaxing on weekends that sometimes it's hard for me to sit down and focus on getting work done on the weekends.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. It's like when you get home after work, you sit down, you're like, man, I should do something. Oh boy, it's already 9 p.m. Where did the time go? I guess I got to start over tomorrow.
Absolutely. Um, I guess segueing from the VTuber talk, what inspired you to become a VTuber? I think I saw on your channel you had like a tribute to Gargura and said she was the inspiration. Is that right?
Yeah, I remember back in December 2019 when Hololive's EN Wave first hit the scene. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know what the hell a VTuber was at the time, and I was like, what is this going on here? I thought this was like a Japanese thing only. What do you mean there's an English wave?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I wasn't really paying attention much to others. I mean, Callie's kind of caught my eye because I was like, oh, she's a musician. I'm a musician. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Um, and then I saw Gura, and I don't know, something about Gura just drew me to her. And I think one of her performances really captured me when it was her singing Tatsuru Yamashita's Ride on Time. And I
Yeah.
was like, yo, wait, I know this song. I love this song. What do you mean she's singing this song?
Yeah, she
And
was, as far as I can remember, she was the first real like VTuber, Western VTuber to really catch that whole city pop wave that was going
oh
on.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And so when I saw that, I was like, yo, I know people are gonna be on this like hotcakes. I want to be the first to make an edit about this. I saw people in my circles talking about making an edit, and I was like, no, I'm gonna be the first. And so I threw together a shitty future funk edit of her cover of Ride on Time, and that is probably the most popular thing on my SoundCloud right now,
Right, right.
behind another remix that I did years and years and years ago. But
Yeah,
truly,
yeah.
it was that performance and that thing that made me realize, holy shit, wait, if they can do this, why can't I do this? Why can't I be a VTuber? I love streaming already. I was already streaming with a friend of mine. We shared a channel together, but I was like, if they can do this model thing or whatever and not have to put their face up on the screen, I can do that
Yeah.
too. And so I started looking at how to do it. And then about January of 2020 or February of 2020, I debuted as a VTuber.
There you go. That's awesome. I feel the same way about like Halloween, except for me, it was like Amelia Watson that really, that really inspired me and pushed me into like being a VTuber. Well, her and like Pomu Rainpuff of Niji Sanji and I don't know, for some reason I had like all my Oshis have been sort of blonde. I mean, my Oshi now is IMR and she has more of a grayish blonde thing going on, but like generally speaking, like the blonde VTubers have been the goofy silly ones, that's really inspired me in terms of like where I approach my content, but
Mhm.
it's how to say, where was I going with this? um I don't know, it's like Halloween, I guess, really made it seem so easy, so accessible to be like a streamer in that way, and I
Oh
guess
yeah.
that's the illusion of them having as many corporate resources and backing as they did, to debut into this whole environment. Me when I when I built up the confidence to like myself go out and get the equipment to be a VTuber and all that. It was like mid 2021 that I debuted. I didn't know shit about streaming, so I just completely I don't know, I completely fell upon impact essentially. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they made it look easier than it actually is what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, it definitely does have to do with the fact that, they hop on the stream and then they're doing their thing. And it's like, oh, it's people like us that are doing that. But really, this is from a company who has so many, so many, so many assets and is doing this in a successful place and a different culture. And they're just bringing
Yeah.
that over here. But even the fact that they were able to bring that over here and saw how successful it was made
Mm-hmm.
people realize that with enough time and effort, they could do something like that too. And so
Yeah.
they really did pioneer that VTuber boom in the Western space in 2020 and just carried it forward. Even though
And now
some of
there's
them
a
aren't here
yeah.
now.
Yeah, yeah. And now there's a HoloLive office in fucking America.
Yep, yep. So I think, for me though, when it comes to like, calling somebody an Oshi, it's kind of hard for me to use
Oh
that
yeah.
term because there's so many people that I look up to. There's so many people that I think are amazing, talented
That's
creators, but
fair.
if there's maybe three people in my life that I've called Enoshi. One, and it's
Yeah.
not even any EN people, like Hololive people. One of them was a VTuber by the name of Miko. Um,
Okay.
she has long since graduated now, and she's going under a different name now, and she's still active. But
Mhm.
she was so much fun to be around, and like I think she also did great with music and everything like that, and she kind of inspired me to continue to work on my craft as a musician and
Oh,
continue my
okay.
journey as a YouTuber. And then another one who actually there was the person I was playing with earlier before the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Tia Mato. She is a dragon VTuber who is insanely talented, both with art and with singing.
Oh, very
And
cool.
just I think when it comes to someone who I call an Oshi, it's someone who is able to bring a smile to my face no matter what. And
Yeah.
the previous person who's now since graduated, and Tia both have that quality in them that they bring joy just to people around them just by, existing and being themselves. And it's kind of something that I hope I can do, not only with my streaming, but also with my music.
Absolutely. That's my favorite part of being a VTuber is being able to get together so many different people in a single space and find community in that. I
Hmm.
part of the reason that I'm in what I do, I remember seeing this post ages ago from Reddit. Who knows of its veracity, but I think it was like somebody who was turned away from QAnon essentially by, getting into Gargura and like joining the Chumbuds and all that. And it's like,
Hmm.
it really is like being able to find a community of like-minded people and like commiserate with them and like being able to express your feelings with others, and that's emotionally healthy. More people need that in these days where everything is so freaking atomized.
Yeah, yeah. I think when it comes to like online especially, it makes people feel like so distant that you are looking through so many you're looking at so many people and interacting with so many people through this box on your desk. But it's also that box on your desk that allows you to see so many different experiences from so many different walks of life that make you
Yeah,
realize that even though you're looking at a box on a screen, somebody's also looking at you through their box on the screen. There's always
yeah,
somebody on side. All you have to do is reach out to interact with them and make those genuine connections, even though those of the older generations will tell you, oh, you have online friends? That's not real. I have friends all across the world in so many different time zones that it drives me insane. But
yeah.
we manage to find ways to connect on things, and we're not the barrier of distance means nothing to us because at least we're able to still be our genuine selves to each other, and that I think fosters that sense of community that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. um so what do you hope to do as a musician in the VTuber community? Like, as loaded as a term as this might be, what do you hope is your eventual legacy?
That's a good question. I thought back in the day that I wanted to do, like, I wanted to become famous. I wanted to be like, Hella Live famous. I wanted to, get out there
Right.
and be, the one that everybody knows for like things. I wanted to be like a Starlight Daryl. I wanted to be a Wonder Riku, like, the people that did, stuff behind uh Iron Mouse's music box of fate, or
Hmm, hmm.
that what is that name the name of that piece that Riku did recently, um that they worked with the Hololive EN members for Gura and everything. Like, I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to
Right.
be like that face. But I think in recent times I've come to realize that what is most important to me is, one, doing cool shit with cool people, and two, being able to evoke emotions in people that listen to my music. If somebody
Hmm.
smiles because of my music, or somebody enjoys my music and it makes them feel the things that I'm trying to convey through that song, then that's enough for me, you know?
Yeah. No, that's exactly how I see it too. I love, first of all, like being able to, do these streams and connect with all sorts of like musically minded VTubers, as well as like, my audience and their audiences, and getting to, hear all these different opinions on and perspectives on music. But also just like, I don't know. I love. I also make these like deep dive video essays into like topics on music history, right? And it's always great like getting to hear from people who follow these bands from years back, share their different experiences and feelings on the music that they grew up with. It's it's a great space that I'm able to create by just being me and putting my work out there.
Exactly. And I think I'm a big advocate for the philosophy that if you put something out there, there's somebody out there that's going to like that song. There's somebody out there that's going to resonate with your art, and that resonating is like them like seeing a piece of you. Because for me, whenever I make music, a piece of me is in that music. And so it's like
Hmm.
that's how I also make connections with people, through the music that I have. And so as long as that's there out there for people to listen to, I'm truly never gone. And that's the legacy that I choose to leave behind, is the music that I
Yeah,
create.
absolutely. I art is I mean, I art is such a fucking incredible means by which we we preserve our lives like far beyond like our own lifetimes. So
Mhm.
I how to say I mean, I'm sure like storage space is finite, but nothing is ever truly gone as long as you have like your ideas written out there in the world for somebody to stumble across, it's evidence
Mhm.
that you tried at the very least is the way I see it. Like I
Yeah.
think I remember like I tried writing this blog for like my first band ages ago on Tumblr, and that's like a point I made. Like when we released our like first ever like EP on Bandcamp or whatever, it was complete
Mhm.
ass. It sounded horrible. We recorded we recorded entirely in mono because we didn't have like the cable output for stereo, and so to sort of make it sound faux stereo, we like slapped some reverb on it and like panned it left and right. Um
Right.
you know, we had that EP out there, and even if it was like amateurish and, kind of a little embarrassing in hindsight, it was evidence that, we were a band that were there, that, put our foot out there and tried. And, I
Mhm.
honestly, you can't ask for that much more effort. Well,
Yeah, no, I truly, I mean, as you learn, and as you figure things out, then yes, you put in more effort. But I think that, making that effort in the first place is very admirable because a lot of people will look at that and say, my music isn't as good as Billie Eilish's, or my music isn't as good as SZA, or my music isn't as good as
yeah, yeah.
Michael Jackson or whatever. And so I'm not going to even try. What's the point? But
Yeah,
the
why
whole
bother
idea is
expressing
taking that.
yourself?
Yeah, but that first step of putting it out there in the first place is the most important because it makes you realize you have a space out there to put your stuff out,
Yeah,
and maybe you might not like it right now. Maybe you might back at it a cringe later, but there's somebody there that will appreciate what you've done, and it might even
yeah.
inspire them. So just go for it.
Yeah, just be uniquely you. Like, like to your point about like improving in the future, that my band did eventually go on to produce better music by the time I left it. But, then especially the front man of that band went on to do even better things, and he's got his own like post-hardcore thing that he's doing right now that sounds kick-ass. So,
Hmm.
we all start somewhere, but we evolve into greater, better things.
Oh, absolutely. I still listen back to the first song I made, and I'm like, man, this is ass. But one of my best friends that I have worked on with quite a few songs at this point. Her name is Autotune Ready. She goes by Aru. She listened to it and she was like, "What? This is good. This is really good. I could never make something like this. This is good." And so even her saying that, her who makes things that I could literally never make, we are literally looking at each other's works through our own lens, realizing that other person can make something I can't, and so therefore it's valuable. But the thing I can make back then, it wasn't valuable to us. So by realizing that, it's like, wow, we really, one, are our worst critics, and two, we realize that we have so much potential and capability of doing things that we can't see ourselves, but other people will
Yeah.
recognize that if we just put it out there.
It's good to develop healthy self criticism like that, right? Where you're able to look back
Mhm.
on your past works and be like, okay, yeah, there's a lot wrong here, but there is still like a nugget of a nugget of what I would eventually become here, so I can't entirely throw it out wholesale. Like,
Oh yeah.
for instance, like my drumming on that initial EP was pretty hot garbage. Like I was just basically getting into drumming around then, and like I just started taking like rock lessons on my own time, so like I didn't know shit about like rudiments or like really how to like appropriately build like fills and like beats and all that
Mhm.
stuff. um but eventually, nowadays, I'm in a few bands, and my drumming has exponentially gotten better. Especially ever since I took like jazz lessons in college. So it's like,
Mhm.
I'm able to go back and hear like hints and pieces of what I would become, and it's charming in that right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same way with me. It's like, if you are somebody who is, passionate about what you do, then like I said earlier, there will always be pieces of you in the music that you create. There's one
Mhm.
thing that, and if anybody knows me when it comes to my music, is that I love major seven chords. I
Oh, yeah.
always find a way to use major seven chords in my songs, and from the very first song I've ever put out to today, you will find at least one in there. If it's my original song, you're definitely finding it in there. If it's a composed one for someone that's commissioned me, maybe not. But people have listened to my music, and over time they're like, yeah, this sounds like a song that Yuuto would make. And then they're like, oh shit, it is a song that Yuuto made. Or they're listening to a song and they're listening for certain aspects of it that they know point to me. And I
Yeah.
never in my years thought that I would have a style that people could pinpoint and point out or find similarities in other songs that they were like, this sounds like something you would make.
There you go. Yeah, it's cool. It helps
So
to
I
have
made
like
some
a
kind of
signature
impact.
style. Helps to have a signature style like that. It really helps you stand out among the crowd. Yeah. Now all
Mhm.
you need is a good tag for your production. Wait, do you have a producer tag?
I don't have a producer tag. I've tried making one with a friend, IRL friend of mine, but it never really came to fruition.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, are there any dream goals or collabs you have as like a VTuber musician?
Oh man, if I could. Well, another side of my musician thing is also DJing. So if I could DJ at a like huge convention on main stage, I think that
Mm-hmm.
would be great. I would love that. If I could collab with Tofi or James Landino
Oh yeah.
on a track or something like that, that would be huge. I've already reached one of my dream goals of collabing with my friend Chika Fujilisa, who
Oh
is an amazing,
nice.
phenomenal. She's a phenomenal artist. Amazing, and how she pours so much of herself and her soul into her music, and you could just feel it with the way she writes, with the way she sings. It's amazing, and so I was so lucky to be able to work with her on an original song of mine, and I love it to this day. Listening to it, I'm almost like, damn, this doesn't even sound like something I would make, but it still also does sound like something I would make. Um, and that just goes to show you the way I've changed, the way my composition has changed over the years. But yeah, I think on the list is, collaborating with Tofi, collaborating with James Landino,
Mm-hmm.
DJing on a main stage, and also um well, I can't even say that because my music has been in a video game. So
Oh
I've
nice.
knocked that off the list too. Yeah, one of my dear friends made a game called the Vtuber Summit a few years back, and I had the privilege of having my songs featured in that soundtrack along with a team of composers and everything. It was really cool.
Oh, that's fun.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I guess just those three. These days, I don't really wish too much for anything except being lucky enough to work on cool projects with a multitude of different people.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you ask for? Stability, community. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Uh, so oof. Have you gone to very many concerts in the past? Rock, EDM, whatever. Otherwise,
Unfortunately, I haven't had the pleasure of going to different concerts and things like that. Unless it's a convention or something like that, I'm pretty much a
oh yeah,
homebody. But
yeah.
I have had the pleasure of going to the Near Orchestra concert, and that was probably one of the best
Oh,
experiences I've ever had in my life. It
that sounds
was
awesome.
amazing. They had, Emmy Evans and Janique Nicole show up and sing live with the orchestra. We had the
Yeah.
music that was playing alongside the story, a new original story that ties into the game itself. Um,
Oh, wow, that's
yeah, which is
awesome.
it was amazing. I was like, I'm learning new lore here and everything like that. That's being told through the music. some music that is from the game, some music is from other series in the game as well. So it was amazing. I think
Right.
Okabe-san was there as well. So getting to see the actual composer of the soundtrack there and like seeing him and being able to thank him for his service was amazing. Such a magical experience.
That's incredible
Um,
because usually you think of like concerts like that as just sort of playing to, the scenes, like on a projection in the background. And, there's definitely something magical in that. But at the same time, like having an entirely like original story themed around like the music of the games, that just sounds incredible.
oh yeah, it was if I could see it again, I so would. Just being in those seats and listening to that orchestra play in front of me just took me back to when I was in high school and playing in my in the chamber orchestra and realizing how much I missed being a part of that space. And I think really now
Oh
that I
yeah.
think about it, that I didn't think about it previously is because I've always loved collaboration because when I was in the orchestra, it was always about playing together to sound all good together.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. I used to take well, I say I used to have violin lessons and play in orchestra, but in truth, I never really practiced that much. But I was an orchestra kid back in the day, and
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
there is something to be said for the process of like getting together in an ensemble and making, music together. And I mean, I guess
Mhm.
it's not just that. I mean, choirs work the same way too. Like the whole feeling of like getting together in a choir and like controlling yourselves in unison as one voice. It's incredible.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
um what what instruments would you like to learn if you had the spare time?
Oh man, that's. I would like to learn to play the guitar better. I would like
Oh
to learn
yeah.
to play the piano better.
Mhm.
I would maybe want to learn how to pick up the cello. Um,
Oh.
because I can play the violin, yes, but I was like, oh, if I can play the violin, I'm sure I can play the cello. That's a different beast in and of itself. The posture's all different. Your hands have to reach further. The cello's a beautiful instrument, but man, is it hard to play.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a wild instrument to master. Like,
for sure, for sure.
I have a friend who's a cello player himself, and he's able to do all that, wicked slidey shit. But it's like it's an entire like different level to get to like fucking Yo-Yo Ma. It's like
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if the technical prowess needed for like string instruments really differs like from violin to viola or cello, but like it definitely is it's a larger thing to get your hands around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think, once the muscle memory really sets in, if you're playing something like a violin, if you try to translate that to the cello, it's not going to work out because
Yeah,
one, you're already playing in a different clef to begin with.
yeah,
Two, your fingers need to stretch out more to hit the notes that you think you're hitting. And so you have to adjust for that, which means you have
yeah.
to kind of adjust your whole body posture in order to be able to comfortably do that. And then it's like you're learning how to do something new with your left hand. So you're not focusing on your
Yeah,
right hand. It's so much. It's so
yeah.
much.
And even worse is like the fucking upright bass because like oh my god,
Oh god.
I see some like jazz ensembles from time to time and like really good upright basses. They like really fucking lean into their instruments and like get all up
Mhm.
and down the neck, and I'm just like I don't know how I don't know how you could like have that much mobility like around an instrument that large.
Mhm. Yeah. If there's another instrument that I think I would want to learn, um, I would say I would want to learn how to sing. Now
Mm.
people will tell me and people will tell you that I can sing. I do not necessarily believe them. I think I can carry a tune well. I think I can stay in pitch well, but I don't think I can sing. Now,
Yeah.
this may be because I feel like I'm comparing myself to the likes of people like my friend Tia, who she's an amazing
Right.
self-taught singer and she sounds so phenomenal. But I want to be able to, find the time to maybe take lessons to like, learn how to
Yeah.
control my tone better or do better breath control or
Yeah.
just have better pitch in general. So I can sing because singing is so much fun and singing is also really scary. Like I
Yeah.
it is so hard to bring myself to sing in front of people or around people that even when I'm trying to like sing or like do a warm up, I feel stupid, which makes me don't want it. It makes me not want to do it. But
Yeah.
that's all the more reason I love watching Tia because I see how much fun she has singing, and it makes all that fear and doubt and nervousness waste away, and it just reminds me how much fun it is to do this. So I should just
Yeah.
do it.
I'm of the mindset, yeah, that anyone can sing. They just need to really put themselves out there and start somewhere. I mean, like, the same energy that you would take to, like, a fucking karaoke parlor is exactly the same energy you should take if you ever, intend to go, like, sing seriously. Just sort of throw, I mean, obviously have a mind to maybe your pitch or your breath control or whatever, but it's like as long as you start learning like proper technique, like you can definitely get somewhere as a singer. I took vocal lessons, I want to say maybe 2 semesters in college, and that definitely helped me a lot with like learning breath control. And that
Mhm.
I feel like I've forgotten maybe a lot of it because I haven't sung classically in ages, but classical training is really helpful for vocals.
Mhm.
Uh let's see. Um so when you stream, what do you best like to stream? I saw you had like like a karaoke widget on there. Like do you usually do game streams, music production streams, karaoke streams? Like what's your vibe?
Right. So it's funny that you mentioned I have that karaoke widget on there because I've literally never used it, maybe only once. Um, but again, another thing inspired by Tia, I was like, well, if I feel like I'm in a singing mood, someone can request something and I'll be like, I'll sing. But that rarely, if ever, happens. So what I really
Yeah,
like to do
yeah.
is I like to play video games. I do a lot of collaborations and I play a variety of video games. Have played shooters on stream. I've played games like Elden Ring, so like FromSoft games. I've
Right,
played
right.
horror games. I've played other games. I've played visual novels. One thing I really, really do love and enjoy is playing visual novels, and even more than
Mm.
playing them, is voicing them with friends.
Oh
Because
yeah.
before I became a VTuber, I had a group of friends, well, that I still do have, that a lot of them were up and coming voice actors and everything like that.
Mm.
And so,
I see.
um, what we would do is we would be playing these games and we would be like in call voicing them, characters that didn't have voices and things like that, and practicing that way or doing comic dubs. And so, another way to do that is like, oh, well, if we're streaming and we're streaming these visual novels that don't have voices, let's just give them voices. One of my
Yeah, there was.
closest
I think I saw there was that like Arrogate cake batter game or whatever that was that was on YouTube that you had the VOD of.
for what now?
What was it? Hold on, let me pull that up. On your YouTube. So.
Mhm.
Here we go.
どうも、サメです。
Oh, a shot of espresso with 7 pumps of milk. Oh wait, one iced latte
Yes.
with your breast milk. What is that? One iced latte with your
Okay.
breast
So,
milk.
so how do I even explain this? Um, that game is safe to be on YouTube or Twitch. It is safe to be streamed.
I mean,
Um,
obviously, I wouldn't.
yeah.
I would. I'm not accusing you of playing like Honey Pop or whatever.
Oh yeah, no. I just think it should be said because that game, like you look at the title and you would think that this is just straight up,
Yeah,
hentai or something
yeah.
like that. And it is a visual novel, and I saw it across my algorithm on Twitter, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. What do you
Hmm.
mean people have streamed this before? What do you mean there's a streamer safe mode? I think it'd be really funny if I put out a tweet saying, hey, I need to find some girls to voice this with me, yada yada whatever. I put it out, I went to sleep, and I woke up, and people were actually interested in doing it. I was like, oh, I didn't think I'd get this far. This was a joke. But I mean, if we're here, I might as well do it anyways. So I got them together, and we streamed the game. And what we'll do is there's no voices in the game for these characters, so we give them our own voices.
Hmm.
Um, One of my friends, my dearest friends that I've known for about maybe 7 years now or so, he runs this stream thing called Turnabout After Party. And what we do
Hmm.
is we have been playing through the entirety of the Ace Attorney series from the first
Oh,
game to the most recent that has released. We've played through almost all of them, and we have gone through and voiced all of them. And
that's
so
neat.
for 5 whole years we've been doing this. It's kind of crazy that it's been 5 years, but it's just a very fun pastime of mine, just getting taking visual novels and
Yeah.
voicing them with friends.
I'm sure, yeah. It sounds like it's fun to do like live readings like that, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. It kind of reminds me of especially when it comes to Turnabout After Party. It's like we have our own little version of the real time fandom by Snapcube.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's where we
uh,
really got all of our inspirations from, because it's iconic.
haven't had a piss on the moon moment yet, have you?
Well, I think we've had moments that are very comparable to the piss on the moon moment.
Fair, fair. Um, well, when you stream games, like what's your favorite game that you stream?
I think, well, like when you say favorite game, like genre or just game in general?
Well, you can do multiple games or genres as you wish.
Yeah, well, I'm very, very fond of JRPGs. I love a game with a
Oh
good
yeah.
story. Like Xenoblade is one of my favorite series. I loved playing
Mm.
that. I am also very much an enjoyer of FromSoft games, as
Okay.
difficult as they are.
Yeah, yeah.
I loved Elden Ring. I loved Armored Core 6. I loved playing Bloodborne way, way, way back in the day before I became a VTuber.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also, like I said, I love visual novels as well.
Hmm.
Story-based games are really nice. And but if we're talking like specific games, then probably I would have to say Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
And not only just the base game of Kingdom Hearts 2, but I like to do what's known as doing randomizer runs for Kingdom Hearts 2, where
Mm.
different things in the game will be randomized, whether it be items,
Yeah,
level bonus,
yeah.
or bosses themselves. It always never fails to make the experience of the game fresh for me, and I so
Yeah.
much. I think I've played Kingdom Hearts 2 randomized at least 40 times, if not more.
Oh, I love randomizer mods, especially like games that are more open world or Metroidvania-ish. Like there
Yeah.
was this one fucking what was it? Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer
Yep.
is like the most
Yep.
fun fucking thing. Like when you have like a modded version of it that you're able to play with, like it's I've I don't think I've ever actually completed a Legend of Zelda randomizer, an Ocarina of Time randomizer, so much as just loaded up the entire thing with like random exits, exits
Oh
randomized and just
god.
gone fucking
Not
wild.
not go randomizer. I could never bring myself to do that. That's hell.
Yeah, yeah.
I I actually recently played through the Ocarina of Time randomizer with my friend Amalia, and she played the Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer. Her name is Amalia
Oh,
Solaris.
yeah.
She's a grass dragon VTuber.
Okay.
Um, so the way we ended up doing it was that we use what's known as an archipelago, which is a way that you can connect two different games together and like link them
Oh,
together through a multi-world. So some of her items were in my game and some of my items were in her game. And so to beat our respective games, we had to help each other by finding the items that belong to the other person to help them progress.
That's fun.
Yeah, yeah, and that was my first experience with Ocarina of Time randomizer, so it was a time TM.
Oh my gosh. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Tyson Johnson. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Um, yeah, geez, I that sounds like a fun time though, like getting together with another streamer and like trying to solve like two different games together. Like
Mhm.
I imagine it's the same thing with like, doing a Pokemon like Soul Link.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you have your Soul Link, so you have your Pokemon who, like, if they die, this one dies, that one dies. So it creates a level of communication that you need to
Yeah.
have with your partner to be able to do what you need to do efficiently. Like giving each
Mm,
other hints about where something might be, or like, hey, I see you can literally, with some of the ways that the pathing and the logic is done, see the path that you need to do to get an item. So you
right.
need to have this person do X so you can do Y so they can do Z so you can get your item. And so it's like, hey, you need to do this so I can continue, or I'm gonna get bricked off and I can't move. I'm gonna get BK'd, as they called it.
Yeah. Does anyone remember games by Psygnosis? It doesn't sound familiar. What is that?
I'm not too sure I'm familiar with
Psygnosis.
that either.
British video game company. What did they make? Uh, Wipeout, Formula One, Call of Duty. See, I don't think I never really played any of like the Wipeout or like racing games or anything like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I had like one Wave Racer game on GameCube that I
On GameCube,
never
yeah.
took out of
Wave
its
Race.
box.
Yeah. Wave Race. God, what was the name of that game?
I forget.
Wave Race Blue Storm. That was the one on
Ah,
GameCube.
yeah.
I played the
Mm.
fuck out of that game.
uh, it's exactly 100% music about a local film premiere with a bunch of first generation Canadian punk rockers. That's awesome. I don't know too much about the Canadian punk scene. All I really know is No Means No, and they're a fantastic fucking band. If you've never heard of No Means No, I definitely recommend checking out their album. What is it? Fucking. Sorry, I'm good. No Means No. Wrong. That's it. Their 1989 album Wrong is fucking fantastic. It's called Junkie Run. Okay, I'll have to look into that at some point. G Police Colony Wars. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Psygnosis. I want to say honestly, like my favorite video games these days. I mean, I'm very much heavily into Hollow Knight. I'm, Hollow Knight,
Right.
Hollow Knight Silk Song. I'm into like roguelikes too. Though I spend the bulk of my time gaming on fucking Yarg these days. Yet another rhythm game. If you've ever heard of
Right.
it, it's like an open source rock band Guitar Hero clone, and
Mhm.
it's fun. I've been getting up to speed on recovering my chops from back when I used to play those games way back when.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm definitely a huge fan of rhythm games. I love watching videos by Asai back in the day. I mean, I
Oh
still even watch
yeah,
him to this day, and he was one
he's
of my
great.
inspirations for getting into Clone Hero. But my gripe with rhythm games is that I can never seem to find a good medium in terms of like
Mm,
difficulty. It's either A, it's way too easy, or B, this is way too damn hard, and there's no
that's
happy medium
fair.
for me. So it's hard to find that so I can get better. But I love, love, love rhythm games. As a musician, I kind of have to have rhythm. So
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
for me, I think one of my favorites to play is probably Waka. I
Mm.
love going to the arcade and playing Waka if I can find it there.
Is
Sound
that like
Voltex
the
is also
taiko sort
really
of
cool.
drum game,
So
or?
so Waka is more like there's like a touch pad thingy or whatever, like a circular touchpad thing or whatever, and
Okay.
you glide your hands around the like in a 360 motion around it, and that's how you
Oh.
like hit different notes that are coming at you, whatever. Um, so that one's really fun because I feel like it's really intuitive and it's really not that difficult to play, even though like there are harder songs and everything like that. Like
Uh-huh.
technically wise, it's not that hard to play. Um,
Mm.
a game that is technically hard to play, technical wise, is Sound Voltex. But God, it looks so cool. Sound Voltex is so cool. It's got like I think 2 or 3 buttons, and then also like 2 DJ like twister knobs on the sides and everything like that you can use.
Oh
And
yeah.
it looks so cool to play, but man, it's hard. It's hard.
Sounds like it. What
Yeah.
about Clair Obscur? I've not played Clair Obscur. I've heard, great things about it,
Yes.
but
The
but
French.
from like this from the segments I've heard of its soundtrack, it's got a banger score.
Oh, absolutely. I'm currently on tracks to beat that game tomorrow if I end up streaming it tomorrow. And I've
Oh, neat.
enjoyed every single second of it. The music is phenomenal. The story was interesting. It's really good. I very much enjoyed the story, but it's also crazy just how much they hold from you until the very end. It's like you're
Yeah,
playing a
yeah.
mystery game. Everything unfolds, and you're like, "Holy shit!" So this, that, and that is why this happened. And once you get all the information, everything starts to make sense. But you're not gonna make sense of it until the end. And so, just going on that experience was amazing. And if there's one thing that two things that I'll say about Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is that it feels like I'm watching a movie every time I watch the cutscenes.
Oh yeah, no,
Particularly
it looks
because of the
gorgeous.
mocap. Yeah, it looks gorgeous, but also the mocap, the way that these characters interact in the world and the way they move around and the way they deliver their lines through voice acting is so realistic. It feels like I'm watching a movie. And they also portray emotions and feelings and thoughts and behaviors so well that it feels like I'm watching a movie and not a game through some of these cutscenes.
And it's crazy too that like it was created by an indie studio, right? Like it was like a bunch
the
of
team is not
breakaways
that
from
big.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, the team is not that big. So to see how far they've come and how much they put into this, it feels like a sleeper hit that just came out of nowhere. You're like, whoa, what is this? People were calling it French Xenoblade, and as I played, I was like, oh, I understand why now.
Absolutely love your Kiss deep dives. Are there any other classic rock bands you're thinking of doing a deep dive on? Yes, I think I do already have the next band that I want to plan on mine. Obviously, I'm gonna hold off on that for announcing that for now. But in terms of bands in the future that I definitely want to deep dive, that I'm not currently don't currently have any plans to do. Maybe like Judas Priest or what's another good one. Love to do something on like maybe a groove metal act at some point. I've had an idea for like an Iron Maiden script, like doing like a sort of analysis of the like early years through the metaphor of the ship of Theseus, analyzing how each lineup of like each of the first 4 albums was like a different sort of vibe. I don't know. No means no. What game made you get emotional? That's a good question.
I've had a few. I've had a few.
No, I definitely have had. I definitely have 2. It's just hard to think it up at the moment. Maybe Undertale. I don't know if I cried at Undertale. It definitely was like a very emotional sort of game though at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say Undertale definitely was one of those defining moments of the internet in terms of games that just took everything by storm. It was like like a second coming of Homestuck.
Yeah. Oh, I loved Undertale back in the day. I remember like when it came out, I was in college and I played it on my shitty dinky little work laptop, and it did me just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't have the pleasure of saying that I've played Undertale because I've seen so much about it and I've seen so many people play it and I know so much about it that I feel like playing
Oh,
it for
so you just
myself.
absorbed it all through osmosis.
Oh, so much of it over the years. It's not even funny. I went through watching people play it. I looked things up on the wiki. I saw people talk about the music. I've listened to all the songs, so I know what happens in that game, and I know that that game is not a game that I will be able to play because
uh,
it's also the reason why it's hard for me to play games like Detroit Become Human. It's hard for me to play games like Until Dawn because those games
yeah.
make you have choices and those choices affect so much and change so much, and it's like I can't live with the idea that I did something and I it's just too much responsibility for me.
Yeah, yeah. No, those David Cage games are really fucking heavy.
hmm Yeah, so but I appreciate them for what they are, and I've been thinking of playing maybe Deltarune at some point because I'm like, well, I want to at least try to experience some of these
Hmm.
these games made by Toby Fox. So I want to try with that one. But as far as making emotional, I think Near Automata probably was one of them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that game, getting to the true ending and finishing it, I cried my eyes out.
yeah.
I cried my eyes out because of how beautiful and how powerful the message that game was showing, like the message it was giving us was. It meant the world to me.
Hmm. Honestly, I don't know if I credit this one either, but like Final Fantasy VII, I remember playing that over the pandemic for the first time. And that
hmm
story really fucking stuck with me. I mean, there's a reason why Final Fantasy VII in particular is still like hailed as the definitive Final Fantasy all these years later. It's just like the characters hit you so hard, like, and especially when you've sat with their themes like for a while. Like you go back and listen to like some of the like Tifa's theme or Aerith's theme, and it just the emotions hit you like a brick fucking wall.
hmm Yeah, that was 13 and 15 for me.
Oh yeah.
Because of the say what you will about the stories of those games and everything like that, but I think the character dynamics in 13 and 15 and the way they played off of each other,
Yeah, yeah.
and the character growth was just absolutely phenomenal. I felt like there was real people I was interacting with, and it was great to see them grow over their journeys, especially in
Hmm.
15. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that story was something else, but the way that they felt like true bros just going on a road trip and everything like that was so good. It was so good.
I love that premise for a game. Like I I know that 15's got a mixed reputation in the community. I understand, but the whole concept of like being on a road trip with your bros for an RPG party just goes so hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Used to go hard on Infamous 1 and 2 back in the PS3 days. I've never played the Infamous games, unfortunately. They look really cool. Uh,
Oh
my
yeah, for sure.
my emotional moment was Aerith's death. Yeah, that was even like fucking like however many years on it was from like when it was released. I still felt, for Cloud during that entire scene. And the fact in that moment they play, Aerith's theme throughout the entire boss fight in the aftermath of her death just makes the whole thing hit so much harder.
hmm
Um, yeah. Let me see. What else? It looks like I've just about asked all the questions I had prepared.
hmm
One more thing that I usually like to ask my guests to end off the stream, given the chaotic state of the world we live in these days, I like to wonder, like, how do you usually like to cope musically with the world? Like, when you're sad, when you're anxious, when you're angry, like, what sort of music do you like to turn to in times of stress?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think for me, what I like to do is I like to listen to songs that I really resonated with when I was at certain points of my life. Like
Mm.
um, the song that I like to, if I'm feeling sad, I will listen to "Close in the Distance" from Final Fantasy XIV's Endwalker expansion, because
Mm.
that song really connected and touched with me at the time that I heard it for the first time playing that game. If I'm feeling triumphant or like something like I really need determination, I'll listen to "Before My Body Is Dry" from Kill la Kill,
Oh yeah.
because that song gets me hype. If I feel like I just need to um, yell at the world or something like that, like I'm angry, there's other songs I'll listen to. But I think just finding songs that allow me to tap into that emotion, to be able to get it out in a way that I still enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
is has always been helpful for me. And even still, I will, when it comes to creating music as well, I try to do the same. I try to be able to make music that helps me to, or helps other people to evoke certain feelings.
Mm-hmm.
um I have a few songs that if I'm feeling like I'm lost or I'm feeling like I'm sad and everything like that, I wrote songs with those feelings in mind. And so when I listen to that, it brings me back to those moments to be able to evoke that same
Yeah.
feeling.
I go back to 80s metal, 90s only because I remember the good times. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a valid strategy to want to have some sort of like anchor to a good moment in your past, right?
Hmm.
helps helps really bring back those emotions to at least temporarily into the present.
Yeah, I think, finding different ways to healthily cope with the crazy shit that we're dealing with in this world, is important. And however you might do it, whether it be through creating something yourself or listening to something that's already out there, I think is definitely valid.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's about all of the questions that I had for the stream. Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss or ask me before we end off here?
No, I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to yap for almost 2 hours and just
Yeah,
talk about something I love.
of course. I always love having, like I said, I always love having VTubers on, like that are musically inclined, and I love to get their perspective on all sorts of musical topics. It's a really fun thing. And
Mhm.
yeah, happy to have you. Where can people best find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Taiyoshi Yuuto. You can look on SoundCloud and YouTube at either Blank Space, or if you look up Taiyoshi Yuuto, it'll show up there too. But Blank Space as well. Yeah, I mainly post my music there. I have some things on Spotify as well. Under Blank Space, but again, because of the similarity to Taylor Swift, it's a little hard to find, and I'm aware of that.
Yeah, that's
um,
fair.
yeah, but I'm there if you look hard enough. So yeah.
Yeah, go follow him on go follow him on X and follow his links from there. Go check him out, y'all. And thank you to everybody who came in today. If you're from Tayoshi's crowd and you enjoyed the stream, please consider subscribing to me, maybe liking the stream. All that helps me in the algorithm. And I also, as I mentioned, I do these deep dives into music history and. Just recently put out a video on the bad boys of Kiss and their sort of wilderness in the 70s and 80s. That is like Peter Criss and Ace Frehley's solo career at that time. So if any of that interests you, please feel free to subscribe. I'm going to leave you guys off. Who is streaming right now? Let's see. Looks like Scarla's doing some Castlevania, so we are going to raid into Scarla. All right, and if you guys would like to join me over there, feel free to type in her chat cat raid with me. But if you decide to hop off from here, that is all well and good as well. I know I'm gonna get some dinner pretty shortly after raiding into her stream. So that being said, thank you all for joining me once again. I'll hopefully have more news to come soon with a glam metal deep dive script. I completely forgot to mention, I'm conducting some interviews this weekend for it as well. So big things are happening. So look forward to
Yeah, heck
more.
yeah.
Look forward to more interviews. Not more interviews. How to say? Look forward to more talk streams in the future. More updates on my deep dives, and I will see y'all next time. Bye bye.
Take care.